Nishat sir was the pillar in my sociology preparation for the past 3 years. I rejected my previous coaching notes for that and I moved to Nishat sir's notes for that. 4R approach जो मैं follow करता था कि read, revise, recall and reproduce. Because आप जितना भी पढ़ लीजिए, if you are not able to recall and reproduce it in an exam, it is redundant and useless. So Nishat sir, what he used to do.
मुद्दे की बात क्या है, ठीक है? तो पॉजिटिविज्म हो या कुछ भी हो, मुद्दे की बात ये होनी चाहिए कि हमको एग्जामिनर की अटेंशन लेनी है, दैट टू विद इन सेकेंड्स. वो कैसे मिल सकती है? अगर हम सीधा जिसे कहते हैं बुलजाई करें, यानी जो टारगेट है उस पे हिट करें.
I gave 3 UPPSC mains. For the first two mains, I was again sociology was my weakest link. I got 200 or 205 out of 400. So I could not clear 2 mains of UPPSC also. So in my third attempt at UPPSC mains, I got 275 marks in sociology out of 400. That was one of the highest marks that year, and that was the sole reason I am in this service right now as a Deputy SP. So be it positivism, questions on positivism, be it questions on research methodologies, I totally relied on sir's notes because I did not have that clarity what is positivism eventually. So after attending sir's class, I knew that these are the 5 points I have to write in positivism. These should be there and nothing more, nothing less. I don't need to read more about positivism. I don't need to go to IGNOU material. I don't need to go to Harlambos for that.
So hello everyone. Today I am feeling extremely delighted to share with all of you that we have Prakhar Kumar with us. And I have known this boy for the past 3 years now. And when I found his name in the list, I was extremely delighted. And I took not even less than, I would say, a minute to congratulate him. And I really wanted him to come here and share all the things that he did in order to get this prestigious rank. And I can easily remember when I used to take class in the crash course. This year specifically, if I remember, when I took my first class, I had approximately 200 students sitting before me. And I usually take 20 to 24 classes in sociology crash course. And when it comes to the last class, usually you don't expect students to be sitting there, mainly because of the paucity of time and many other subjects that they have to cover before they appear for the final examination. But to my surprise, when I took my last class, I could still see Prakhar there, as far as I remember, because as I told you that I have known this person for 3 years, I can easily recognize his face. And when I saw him, I was very happy. And that easily shows that consistency is actually the key. And you have to be patient, consistent, and stay motivated for as long as Prakhar did. And without wasting any further time, I would really want Prakhar to come here. He is, in true sense, consistency personified. He would tell all through his experience what all did he did in order to get through this rank. So Prakhar, please come.
Thank you, Nishat sir, for giving me this opportunity to share my experience and my journey. It has been a long journey. I come from Gorakhpur district in Uttar Pradesh. I completed my 10th from Gorakhpur, then I moved to Delhi for my 12th and engineering. I did my engineering in information technology from Netaji Subhash Institute of Technology in 2015. Thereafter, I worked for 2 years with Samsung Research in Noida. I gave my first attempt in 2017. I did my coaching in 2017 from a different institute. And I have given, this was my 5th attempt. So I gave 2017, 18, 19, 20, 4 consecutive attempts. Then I took a break for 2 years. Then I gave in 2023, was my 5th attempt. And I've given 4 mains. This was my 4th mains. And eventually I got success in my 5th attempt. This was my 2nd interview also. And sociology has been the weakest link in my preparation till date. I could not clear the previous 3 mains just because of sociology. My marks would range between 225 to 235, maximum 240 I got. in previous attempts. So the experience with sociology has been a very mixed bag. When I did my coaching in 2017 for the first time, it was the first time experience reading a humanities subject coming from a science background. So it gave me a new perspective and I enjoyed it. But enjoyment did not lead to marks in the eventual results. And then in 2018, I could not clear prelims. That was a setback for me. 2019, again, I gave my mains. I joined test series in 2019. That was a different test series. I had a very average, I would say, review of that. I could not gather how much I should have got from that test series. It was more of a monologue rather than a dialogue. The teacher used to just read out the answers, and I could not reproduce the content which I had to in the exam. Then in 2020, I got to know about Nishat sir. uh, I was in a different coaching. I had someone recommended me to join Nishat sir at that point of time. I had given up on sociology. I had different experiences here and there, so I thought, ki, why not give it a new try? And someone new is in the market, and I thought, ki, some dynamism is required in this subject. So in 2020, I joined Nishat sir. For at that time point of time, also I joined the crash course, come test series. That was the first time experience that I got to know that sociology, how to extract the content from the limited resources and reproduce in the main exam. Because reading material is, there is no dearth of material for sociology in the market, and you can go on reading, you can do PhD in the subject, but eventually it will not lead to the final marks because you have a limited scope. You have just 2 or 3 pages to write the answer, and within the limited time you have to give your best content and best presentable content rather than giving just thinkers in the answer or giving just points wise answers. So that was something that I got to know through Nishat sir in the crash course in the test series also. And from that, because it was the first experience 2020, I could not reproduce that much that I had to. So in 2020 also I had a disappointment. I could not get the desired rank. I got an interview call, but could not clear the final list. And then took a break for 2 years. I gave my UPPCS exams. I cleared 2022 UPPCS and I got selected as Deputy SP in UP Police. And that exam, again, I would give a brief introduction background of my UPPCS journey also. I gave 3 UPPCS mains. For the first two mains, I was again sociology was my weakest link. I got 200 or 205 out of 400. So I could not clear 2 mains of UPPCS also. So in my third attempt at UPPCS mains, I got 275 marks in sociology out of 400. That was one of the highest marks that year, and that was the sole reason I am in this service right now as a deputy SP. Because without sociology, I would have been nowhere in the list. And in that attempt also, UPPCS has a different syllabus from UPSC somewhat, but I still refer to sir's test series and crash course notes for revising the last moment, and the crisp notes that he provided in the crash course that acted as a savior for me. Then in 2023, I cleared prelims, and after a gap of 2 years, so I came to Old Rajendra Nagar. I had no one. I thought, ki, where should I join the test series this time? And I trusted Nishat sir again this time because I knew ki I know ki he has delivered my marks in PCS, so he will be able to give the attention for the next attempt also. And the one thing which I would like to point about Nishat sir is his accessibility and availability for the students, because in any other institute, if you go, you won't be able to find a mentor or a teacher so freely available and accessible like sir is available, be it on call, telegram, WhatsApp, whatever you send him, he will be replying within an hour or maximum. And you can meet him anytime in the institute and you can discuss your answers. You can he will point out what are the lagging points and what you can improve. And now coming back to the test series and the crash course, which has helped me immensely in getting this rank this time, what I felt that sociology as a subject is very vast, and from coming from a different background, you can get lost in the ocean of the resources here. So coming back to the crash course and the test series part, what differentiates Nishat sir from other institutes is he's totally exam focused and exam centric, because this our focus and goal is to clear the UPSC exam, not become a sociologist or get become doing PhD in sociology. उसके लिए पूरी जिंदगी है आपके पास, कभी भी कर लेना. But giving 2 months and you have to revise the syllabus, you have to read the syllabus completely, you have to read your notes, you have to reproduce your notes and you have to make them presentable. So 4R approach जो मैं follow करता था कि read, revise, recall and reproduce. Because आप जितना भी पढ़ लीजिए, if you are not able to recall and reproduce it in the exam, it is redundant and useless. So Nishat sir, what he used to do, the crash course, the classes of the crash course were, it acted as a revision notes for me because I had not made short notes previously. And I think that was a big mistake I did, which no one should do. Because without having a short notes and without having a notes which you can revise at the last day, you won't be able to reproduce in the exam. So what Nishat sir did before every test, he used to take 2 or 3 classes with respect to that topic. And the topics which were discussed were mostly focused on the PYQs. And one thing I would like to point out again, that in the socio, one should consider the Bible as the PYQs. Nothing else will matter. No syllabus, no book will come as handy as the PYQs. So we should only focus on the PYQs, and being a static subject somewhat, because paper one is mostly static part. And if you go through the PYQs, you will see there is a pattern of being questions being repeated after a few years. Because if you see that there is a in religion chapter, you see there's a sect and cults questions. Secularism is being repeated. Secularization is being repeated. So there, you should focus on that topics rather than reading every theories of religion, because they are not asking theories of religion frequently. Similarly, if you go through in the test series, most of the questions were repeated from the PYQs also. And because people, we are lethargic to do PYQs on our own. So it is a good way to revise the PYQs also and get a view how to write the answers in PYQs, because some questions are very random in previous years and you don't know how to approach. And those open-ended questions which are not part of the syllabus, it will seem that how to write 4 pages, because we are getting 4 pages also in some questions. So Nishat sir used to demonstrate how to fill the pages, and that is something that you have to develop as a skill. Because if you are not able to complete those 4 pages, and if you're not making your answer representable so that the examiner can glance through it in a second, and he can give you marks, then writing content would not fetch you the desired marks. So if there's a question on anomy or there's a question on deviance, he would give how to make flowcharts in the exam, how to write in the big capital letters, how to increase the font size somewhere. Because if you're not having the desired content, then you would feel like how to skip the question. And out of, you have to choose 5 questions out of 8 questions, then you'll feel like this I cannot do. Then your options are getting reduced because you have a content for 2 pages, but you cannot do it in 4 pages. So you think that I should skip this question. So that is a skill that I developed through Nishat sir classes. And the most of the PYQs were covered in the tests. There were 8 tests, and the discussion of all the tests I attended regularly. And the discussion were also in a form of short summary classes. So some topics which are not covered in the crash course the class were covered in the test series. And through that, the everything that he told, he most of the things were totally exam centric. And eventually you have to fill just 2 or 3 pages, and you should have that amount of content and data for the exam. So if you are planning to join any test series, just first go through it. First ask them what are the deliverables and what is the hit success rate of that institute. And if you think that you have the trust in that institute, then join. The trust is essential, because if you're not trusting, then you will be searching for material here and there, and eventually you will be lost. Because sociology has such vast amount of materials in the market, and being a theoretical subject, you will feel like studying everything. Eventually you won't be able to write anything in the exam. So, and I would like to again highlight one special point sir mentioned in his classes. Sociology syllabus, we tend to focus more on the thinkers part and more on the theoretical portion, which are every institute focuses. And we tend to ignore the chapters, like first 3 chapters in paper one, which has a high weightage in has been having a high weightage for the past few years. So be it positivism, questions on positivism, be it questions on research methodologies, I totally relied on sir's notes because I did not have that clarity what is positivism eventually. So after attending sir's class, I knew that these are the 5 points I have to write in positivism. These should be there, and nothing more, nothing less. I don't need to read more about positivism. I don't need to go to IGNOU material. I don't need to go to Harlem Boss for that. So that was something that saves your time also and saves your efforts. Eventually, you have to read, and you have to read GS also, you have to read essay also, you have to read so many things, and you have to read current affairs at that point of time. So you have to focus on minimizing your time and maximizing your output. So if you are not able to do that, then you are not able to manage the time in the last 2 or 3 months. And the gap between pre and mains is such a time, because if you are not able to perform in 1 or 2 days, then you will be having some panic attacks, you will have some pressure, you will have be getting frustrated, then your output and efficiency will decrease accordingly. So attending Nishat sir's class was like a break for me. I used to read here and there. Then I used to come to Nishat sir class and I used to listen for 3 hours. Eventually, sometimes classes extended for 4 hours also. So, sir, we used to shift from classroom here and there sometimes due to the paucity of space also. So I think that was something that made me regular in the preparation phase. I used to read regularly sociology. I used to revise. I made nearly two. He through the class crash course classes, there was any more than 1.5 or 2 registers. I got the notes, and that was final notes that I think that I had to make, and that I revised till the last date. And during the 5 days break between the GS and the optional paper, I used to read that only, and the test series model answers. And moreover, the test series model answers are rather not in a form of large notes that you can read from any source. It was to the point, very short, precise, focusing on what should be written, what should be the focus areas, what should be the headings, what should be the subparts, and how to make that answer more presentable to the examiner rather than just reading the material from anywhere. Nisha sir also focused on making the answer more presentable rather than just making a short notes type format. Eventually, that helped me to complete the paper also, because I had a problem of completing the paper, because paper sociology has such a long paper, because if you have to write 4 pages, then if you are not able to write the answers completely, then eventually you will be leaving 1 or 2 questions, and that can make you out of the list also. So my biggest problem was paper completion and not having the desired material that I can reproduce in the exam. So eventually, that Nishat sir came as a savior for that, and I'm thankful to sir for that. And I think anyone who is having sociology who is not able to score high, I hope I have scored high this time, because eventually I'm in the list. So you should try to find out what are your mistakes in sociology and what you are not able to do, and eventually you should be able to become exam centric rather than becoming sociology centric, because the examination is such that if you're not able to read what is required for the exam, because there are so many distractions in the market. I previously also I used to read same topic from 3 different sources, eventually getting so much to write, but not able to write what has to be written in the answer. So I used to take different coaching materials for same topic. I used to think I'm getting knowledge, but knowledge will not pay you in the exam. Only what you have written in the exam, that will pay you. So Nishat sir was the pillar in my sociology preparation for the past 3 years. I rejected my previous coaching notes for that, and I moved to Nishat sir's notes for that. Eventually, despite not doing the full foundation course, I had a great experience with the crash course, and it was something that I think everyone who is giving sociology as a optional in the mains exam should at least try and give it a one shot. Thank you.
मेरे को सबसे ज्यादा अच्छा ये लगा कि प्रखर ने सबसे ज्यादा फोकस आंसर राइटिंग पे किया। इस चीज पे नहीं किया कि कितनी किताबें पढ़नी चाहिए, कितने थिंकर्स हमको लिखने चाहिए, कितने थिंकर्स हमें पता होने चाहिए, बट फोकस इस चीज पे ज्यादा था कि हमको आंसर कैसे लिखना चाहिए। एंड इसके लिए प्रखर ने पूरा फोकस पी बाई क्यूज के ऊपर रखा है, क्लासेस पे रखा है, शॉर्ट नोट्स पे रखा है, और जो क्वेश्चन की डिमांड है उस पे रखा है। और मुझे याद है जैसे बीच में अभी प्रखर ने कहा कि कभी कभी मैं क्लास में बोलता था कि पेजेस भरने की अगर आप टेंशन लोगे तो कभी कभी आप फ्लड कर दोगे अपने आंसर को विद अननेसेसरी थिंकर और अननेसेसरी स्टफ। और मैं क्लास में बोलता भी था कि व्हाट यू शुड बी डूइंग इन ऑर्डर टू कंप्लीट दोस पेजेस is to simply enlarge the font size. In case you are having a particular kind of font size which may not be so legible to the examiner, what you may do is to simply enlarge the font size. This will help you not only gain the attention of the examiner but also make your answer more presentable and more uh, At the same time, it will also help you to complete the answer in the given page limit. कभी कभी लोग इस चीज को नहीं समझते हैं. दिस टाइम अराउंड आई थिंक वी वर फॉर्चुनेट आल्सो दैट वी गॉट ओनली 3 पेजेस. इस बार तो 4 पेज भी नहीं थे, इस बार तो 3 पेज थे. तो आई थिंक दिस स्ट्रेटेजी तो might have helped many students to save more and more amount of time if they had used this kind of strategy. Secondly, जैसा प्रखर ने कहा कि पॉजिटिविज्म हो या कोई भी डिस्कशन हो, हमेशा इंपॉर्टेंट ये होता है कि आप थिंकर के कोड्स और हिस्ट्री और टाइमलाइन में जाने की बजाय आप सिर्फ जिसे कहते हैं, एक वर्ड बहुत बार यूज करता हूं मैं, मुद्दा, मुद्दे की बात क्या है. ठीक है, तो पॉजिटिविज्म हो या कुछ भी हो, मुद्दे की बात ये होनी चाहिए कि हमको एग्जामिनर की अटेंशन लेनी है, दैट टू विद इन सेकेंड्स. वो कैसे मिल सकती है? अगर हम सीधा जिसे कहते हैं बुलजाई करें, यानी जो टारगेट है उस पर हिट करें. एंड प्रखर की बातों से साफ पता चल रहा है कि उसने इन सब चीजों को अप्लाई किया है, और क्योंकि उसका एक लंबा एक्सपीरियंस रहा है अपनी तरफ से भी, तो उसने देखा है कि क्या चीज उसके लिए वर्क नहीं कर रही. हो सकता है किसी और चीज, कोई और सेम स्ट्रेटेजी में किसी और को हेल्प ना मिले, बट इट ऑल्सो मैटर्स कि कौन उसको अप्लाई कैसे करता है. यहाँ पे जरूरत होती है पर्सनल मेंटरशिप की. और मैं हमेशा स्टूडेंट्स को बोलता हूँ कि आप सिर्फ आंसर लिखो मत, आप आंसर मुझे भी दिखाओ, ताकि मुझे भी पता चले कि आप लिखते क्या हो. इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि हम जाने एक दूसरे को, आपके आंसर राइटिंग को पहचाने, उसमें गलतियां समझें और उसको करेक्ट कर सकें. जितना जल्दी करेंगे उतना जल्दी फायदा आपका होएगा और आपका टाइम उतना बचेगा. एंड विद दिस प्रखर, आई वुड रियली congratulate you once
Thank you,
again
sir.
for this prestigious rank that you have achieved. And hopefully प्रखर को हम दोबारा बुलाएंगे, क्योंकि वी आर प्लानिंग वन रैंकर समिट दिस ईयर. जितने भी हमारे सोशियोलॉजी के सिलेक्टेड स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उन सबको मैं चाहता हूँ एक बार सब साथ आए और हम सब लोग मिलके जो अपकमिंग जनरेशन है या एस्पिरेंट्स हैं, who look up to people like you and you, वो आप लोगों से गाइडेंस डायरेक्टली ले सके. क्योंकि ये फैक्ट है, जैसा आपने बोला कि मैं तो एक्सेसिबल था, बट आपको मालूम है आप एक्सेसिबल नहीं रहने वाले हो आने वाले बच्चों के लिए. तो इसलिए बेटर है कि हम जरिया बने बच्चों के लिए आने वाले टाइम में. और वो सबमिट जो है, जो हम करेंगे, वो एक्चुअली जैसे बचपन में होता था पेरेंट टीचर मीटिंग टाइप, तो कुछ वैसा सा ही शायद हो, बट यहाँ पे पेरेंट नहीं होएगा कोई. यहाँ टीचर होंगे, रैंकर्स होंगे और स्टूडेंट्स होंगे. So we'll be organizing that summit very soon. And to stay connected with the updates on that summit, I would like all of you to simply check the description link. वहाँ पे you will get a form which you can fill, and I think it will redirect you to a Telegram page जहाँ से आपको details मिल जाएंगी. So with this, I will conclude this session, and we hope to see Prakhar soon in that session.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, Prakhar, once again.
Thank you, sir.